All right, section view for the flange bearing project. You should have watched the lecture from the publisher video with an explanation about section views and how they work. And then I have a previous video that you should have watched about mainly how to set up things and how to draw your cutting plane line. So in this one, I'm going to walk you through drawing this thing, and I'm going to try and do it rather quickly, just to show you maybe some new things on how we're working through these. So I've given you a prototype file that you'll download in this assignment, just specifically for this one. And so go ahead and download that and open it up. Now, here, what I'm showing you now is a 3D, of this part. And from what the book is showing, this would be the front view. And you can see we've got counterbore holes on the left and the right, and what's known as a countersink in the middle. And if you were to look from the book at the top view, this is what it looks like. And so with a counterbore, you've got a small diameter that goes all the way through. That's the first number. The second number with the kind of the U symbol, that's for counterbore, is the larger diameter, and then the third symbol is the depth of the counterbore. And then a countersink has an angle. Instead of a counterbore, it has a countersink. This counterbores are to allow a bolt or a nut to go down into that recess, and then a countersink is to allow a flathead screw or bolt that has a cone-shaped head to go down inside it. Okay, and so this is what the object looks like. Now we're going to draw it, because we're going to draw a section view. We're going to play with what we're going to use, and we're going to use this as our front view because it shows the most detail with the fewest hidden lines. And then our section view would be in this orientation above it. And so let me turn on a section here. Oh, wait a minute. That didn't work right. I chose the wrong plane. There we go. So this is what our section view would look like. Okay. Now these hidden lines that are showing up, those just ignore those in this part, because Inventor shows where two planes become tangent. And that's what those hidden lines that are showing there are, and we never draw those. But that's what our section view is going to look like. So to get started here, you should have this file downloaded. I'm going to go to my construction layer, and I'm going to draw a construction line that is basically the center of this object. And I'm going to place it. So let me start my line command. And I'm going to go snap from and choose this corner, and I want to come over to the right. I'm going to go at symbol 1, which is the radius of the endpoint, comma 2, which is the diameter or the radius of the whole part. Go enter, and I'm going to draw that line 8 inches long. Okay, and so that's basically the distance between the two holes on the outside. So now we can switch back to our visible layer, and we can draw some circles. So let's go with a center diameter, and we'll go center here, has a diameter of 4, and I'll repeat that. We'll go radius, since that's what the book gives us. From there, has a radius of 1, and I'll go ahead and repeat it on this end with a radius of 1. Now we want to draw lines that are tangent to both of these circles. So let's turn off the ortho mode and go line, and you could pick the tangent snap here and then click on like that outside corner over here and then come to this circle, and we want to go tangent again, so we'll come back and click on our tangent snap and do that. Another way of doing that, we'll give our line command, we'll just type tan on the keyboard, enter, and then press there, and then again type tan and get the object snap and click there. Okay, and so that's got our edges. So let's mirror those. And pick the quadrant in the center there. Erase, no. Okay. And then we can oh, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to trim out the yellow line. Okay, so that's got the basic shape of the object. Now we want to add in our counterbores and our countersinks. So let's look at our counterbore note. It says 2x, diameter 75, counterbore, diameter 1, depth 0.125. So let's go back to circle diameter, go to the center here, and let's take our first number as a diameter of 0.75. We'll go enter. We'll start that again, pick the same point, and now we have a diameter of 1, and that is that's our counterbore. And so we can copy that to the other end of our yellow line. Now the countersink hole, we can do the first diameter, oh, well, we can do both diameters, sorry. So we'll go circle diameter, choose the midpoint here, and we've got a diameter of 1.5. What happened to my diameter 1.5? Okay. My computer kind of slowed down there. And then a diameter of 2.5. Okay, so that's got our front view completed, with the exception of center marks. And we're gonna want to talk about center marks specifically as we're going through this. So let's go to our top view, and because we started over here on the very edge, because that's why I gave you the offset from, let's draw a line from this corner. We're going to go over 10 inches. That gives me the rear of the object. I can turn my ortho back on. I'm going to come down 1 inch, which is the thickness of the base, go back 10 and close. And so that gives me the side view of the base of the thing. Now we got to add in what would be the cylinder. And so I'll go line command, and my tracking, my OSNAP tracking is on, so I'm going to hover over here, bring it up. Oh, I didn't get my depth, sorry. So let's do an offset of 3 inches and choose this rear line back here, and that's going to be the front, because the dimension in the textbook is from the very bottom to the very top. Now we'll do our line command and project up from here, snap there, and go to that point. And we'll do the same thing again. Okay. And I can trim this back. Okay, and so that's got the basic shape of my section view. Now, if we were drawing a regular orthographic view that would have hidden lines, we would have to deal with all of those hidden lines. But we're not drawing hidden lines, and I see no practical reason to draw it as hidden lines and then convert it to visible lines, since we're drawing a section. So we're just going to stay on our visible layer to draw in the holes, if you will, because they're going to be on visible layer anyway. And on page 358, in the step-by-step instructions, it shows you exactly what this is going to look like, okay? So we can, let's work on one side here, and so we'll do a line, project the outside here, and we'll go ahead and take it all the way up. And we'll repeat that again. You just got to watch your object snaps here so that you're snapping, you know, perpendicular. Okay. Now this counter bore has a depth of 0.125. So let's do an offset 0.125. And now we'll do a trim. We'll trim those things out right there. That gives us the look of a counter bore from a side view or a section view. And we can go ahead and put a center line in there. Line command. Oh, all right. So let's. We can just project it from here. Okay. And while we're in the middle of this kind of thing, let's go ahead and do that center line here also. And now let's do our lengthen command. LEN, enter, and then DE, enter, and we'll go a 0.25 and lengthen both of those center lines outside like that. And let's adjust our line type scale on this one. Let's try a 0.6. Yeah, that worked. Okay. And so let's get that all worked out. So let's mirror that. So I'm going to select those lines and do my mirror command using my center line here to snap across from, and no. So that copied it over to that side. Now the counter sink here in the middle. So let's draw the yeah, we'll go ahead and project both of those lines up. So let's, oh, the line didn't take. Okay, so let's project from here. And I'm gonna put these on a construction layer, make them a little bit easier for you to see what we're working through here. Okay, and then the edge here, and that will go all the way through. Didn't stick. What happened with that one? They both changed to the 0. What is going? Oh, I'm hitting my. Guess I'm hitting my escape button too soon. Huh? Okay. All right. Now we don't know the depth of this thing because it tells me that the countersinks are at an angle. It's an angle of 82 degrees. Well, that's the inclusive angle between both sides. So the inner angle, let me come over here to the side and I'll show you. So if I draw a line and a line, those lines are perpendicular. Now I know this thing is, it's at 82 degrees, so half of that is 41 degrees. So if I were to draw, well, let me change layers. I'm just doing this to show you what we're working with here. And so let me make that 2 tab 49. And I guess I should have had this set up before we started, but I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so it's 82 degrees between those lines, which means half of that will be 41 degrees. And I told you to draw it at 49 degrees. Okay, so that's what you need to know on the angles to draw these things. And you think about it, how we're gonna draw that. It's actually going to be inverted, but the angle is still going to be measured from a horizontal line. So the one here would be up at a 49 degree angle. And so I'll go line, snap here, come out, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell it 2, and then tab 49 degrees. Okay. And so let's take this line and convert it over to a visible. Okay. And let's trim here. I should have trimmed that also right there. Okay. Now let's take these two lines and mirror them. I didn't finish out the command. And let's check our dimension. (82 degrees). Good. All right, and now we'll draw a line across there. And I can delete that one. Okay. Now I say that's pretty much got our view done. We need to do some trimming because we are drawing a section view, so this line would not be visible all the way across. So let's trim that out. And that's pretty much got it. Okay. With the exception of center lines and center marks down here. And well, I think let's go ahead and do it. So we'll turn off let's turn off that construction layer. Go to our center layer, and if you remember back when we were dealing with dimension styles and center marks and dim centers and things like that, what we've got going on here is a situation when we draw a cutting plane line, we do not want a center line to be under a cutting plane line. So let's create that cutting or that center mark layer. Okay, and continue, and it's symbols here. Okay, so we've got that set to line. Let's change that to 0.6, and we'll go OK on that. Now let's go to these other two and make sure center marks are turned off. None, okay. None, okay. All right, so we're good with that. And so now we can do our dim centers. And we'll choose this big one, this big one. Oh, didn't repeat. Okay, and the reason I want to do that is because now we have individual lines, okay, that we're looking at. So let's go over to paper space. Check our viewport scale. It's at 1 to 2. All right, that's good. And so let's draw that cutting plane line. And so let's go change to our cutting plane layer. And we'll do a line. Let's go from the center here. And let's come out. Oh, I don't want a line. I want a polyline. Sorry, my bad. Polyline. Out to the edge. And then again, another, I don't know, you know, we'll go 0.5. And then we want to go turn ortho back on. We're going to go vertical 0.25. And now we want to change our width. And so we'll go W on the keyboard. And since we're starting at the back of the arrowhead, let's make our width 0.08. Enter. The ending width is going to be 0. So we'll go 0. And now we'll do our length at 0.25. Okay. And the reason I choose those settings, I explained in the other video, the width of the arrowhead should be 1/3 of the length of the arrowhead. In typical cutting plane lines, the arrowheads are 1/4 of an inch long. All right, so now we've got this, so we can mirror this about the center. And then we want to join that together. So I'm going to select it, right click, and go polyline, join, and select both polylines. Press enter, and then escape. And now I have one polyline that goes all the way across there. But we need to play with our line type scale. And so let's just check this drawing. And so we'll go LTS. The line type scale is 1. That's what we want it to be. So let's select the polyline and go to properties. And let's try a 0.5. No, I think we need to go a little bit smaller. Let's go with a 0.3. That looks better. Looks good. Okay. But the problem you see is that we have a center mark, center lines that are underneath that cutting plane line. So basically, we're going to delete all of the horizontal center lines through this main drawing. So it'd be easier if we do it in model space and come down here. Delete those, go back to our layout tab, and now that looks good because we've still got our vertical center lines. Okay, now dimensioning this will be, you're going to dimension it just like it's shown there in the textbook, and add those notes and fill in your title block. But the counterbore and the countersink dimensions are a little bit different, if you will. Okay, so let's go to our dimension layer, And we'll start with the counter bore down here. It's a diameter dimension. And so in this case, we're going to click on the outer circle and you kind of pull down. We're going to need some space for this. Now we want to edit this. So let's go into it to edit it. I want text edit. I guess text edit is what I get. Okay. Looking at the textbook. Okay. So we're going to end up editing this. So let's go to the left side of that. And we're going to put in a diameter symbol. And you could do it up here with symbols. We could go diameter, and we're going to say 0.75. And we'll press enter on the keyboard. And now we want to insert a GDT. And so which is going to be the lowercase letter x. And then let's go to the right side and go enter. Oh, I said x. It shouldn't have been x. X is the depth. Should be V. V. And then down below we'll go lowercase x. And the numeral is 0.125. And now what we're going to do is we're going to select that the letter X, come up here to our font, and go to the GDT font. And do the same thing. Oh, that didn't work out right. Oh. Okay, so I'll have to edit my video here. Let's change our precision first. Oh, no wonder I'm on the wrong thing. Okay, so change your dimension style back to small radii. And let's apply a diameter dimension to this outer circle. Now we want to edit that dimension. No, I'm going to edit the text on it. And so let's go back, press home key to go to the left, and let's do a diameter symbol, which you can do %C. Oh, I didn't hold down the shift button. %C. And the inside diameter is 0.75. Press enter on the keyboard. Okay, a lowercase v. Go to the right side and press enter, and then do a lowercase x and the depth of 0.125. Okay, and now we want to change the font for these lowercase letters. So I'll select that one and come up here and go down to the GDT font right here. And then let's do the same right here with the letter V, but you gotta like not select the diameter dimension. And we'll go the same, we'll go down to GDT. Okay. And so that looks about all right. If you wanted to go to your properties, what we've got is a text override right here, and you can see that there's lots of stuff in there, okay, about that. And now after we've done all of that, we need to add a 2x at the very beginning of it. Okay, and now you'll do the same thing for the countersink hole. Where except for in this case, you're going to use a lowercase w to put in the countersink symbol. Okay. And then, of course, a degree for the degree symbol. The textbook's pretty clear on working through those things. So you'll get those dimensions. Oh, the hatching. Haven't done the hatching yet. Oh, duh. So let's go back to model space. Change our layer to hatch. Go to the hatch command, and we're going to stick with the ANSI 31 because that's the generic hatch. If we don't, I don't think we were given a material type. Cast iron, yeah, that's fine for that. We'll just use the generic ANSI 31, and then you fill those in. And if you remember, back on the architectural drawing, it said a hatch, you have to have a closed perimeter around it for it to do its work. So if it didn't work for you, it means you got a gap in your line somewhere. Okay, so you'll dimension this as shown in the textbook, the current edition of the textbook. It's on page 358. So you'll dimension it just like that in paper space. You may have to move, you may end up having to move the view up or down a little bit. Add the notes in down here at the bottom and fill in the title block, okay? And there you go.